What if I told you that a completely ordinary life could be more powerful, more painful, and more meaningful than any story of fame or success? Would you still want to hear it? In this audiobook summary of Stoner by John Williams, you'll discover the quiet struggles, hidden passions, and unspoken regrets of a man who never became great in the world's eyes, but may change the way you see your own life forever. If you've ever felt stuck, overlooked, or unsure about your path, this story is for you. And by the end, you'll walk away with a deeper understanding of purpose, resilience, and what it truly means to live. In the opening of Stoner by John Williams, we meet William Stoner as a boy born into a life that feels almost predetermined. He grows up on a small, worn-out farm where every day is defined by hard physical labor, silence, and survival rather than dreams or ambition. His parents are not cruel, but they are emotionally distant, shaped by years of struggle and scarcity. They don't talk about hopes, passions, or possibilities. They talk about crops, weather, and endurance. This environment quietly teaches Stoner something powerful yet limiting. Life is not about what you want, but about what must be done. And so, without ever questioning it, he absorbs this belief and carries it deep within him. Imagine growing up in a household where no one ever asks you what you love or what excites you. No one tells you to dream bigger. Instead, your path is silently decided for you. Many people can relate to this even today. Think of a student who is pushed into a career chosen by their family, or someone who spends years doing work they don't enjoy simply because that's how life is. Stoner's early life reflects this reality with painful honesty. He doesn't rebel, he doesn't question, he simply follows. When his parents eventually send him to the university to study agriculture, it's not out of a desire to expand his horizons, but to make him more useful to farm. Even this opportunity, which could have been a turning point filled with excitement, is approached with quiet acceptance rather than enthusiasm. What makes this part of the story so compelling is how subtle it is. There is no dramatic event, no tragedy that shakes his world. Instead, it's a slow, almost invisible shaping of a human being by circumstance. And that raises an important question for us. How much of our own life is truly chosen, and how much is simply inherited? Are you living based on your own desires, or are you following a script that was handed to you without question? A powerful takeaway here is awareness. Stoner's childhood teaches us that the absence of reflection can quietly define an entire life. If you never stop to ask yourself what you truly want, you may wake up years later feeling disconnected from your own existence. For example, consider someone working a stable job for 10 years without ever asking if it fulfills them. One day, they might realize they've been living on autopilot, just like Stoner did in his early years. The lesson is not to reject responsibility, but to balance it with self-awareness. So take a moment and reflect. What beliefs about life have you accepted without questioning? Are you choosing your path, or simply continuing what was started for you? What would change if you gave yourself permission to think differently? Main points. Stoner's early life shows how environment and upbringing silently shape our beliefs and choices, that a lack of emotional expression and encouragement can limit one's sense of possibility. Many people unknowingly follow paths decided by others, just like Stoner initially does. Actionable lesson. Regularly question your direction in life. Ask yourself if you are living intentionally or just following habit. Actionable lesson. Create moments of reflection where you evaluate your goals, passions, and values. Key question to remember: am I living the life I truly want, or the life I was conditioned to accept? In Stoner by John Williams, the phase of college marks a quiet but life-altering turning point for William Stoner, even though it doesn't arrive with fireworks or dramatic rebellion. He enters the University of Missouri with a clear, practical purpose given to him by his parents: study agriculture, return to the farm, and live the same life they did. At first, he follows this path with the same silent obedience that defined his childhood. But then something unexpected happens, something subtle, almost accidental, yet powerful enough to reshape the entire course of his life. In a required English literature class, Stoner encounters words, ideas, and emotions that he has never experienced before. It is not just the content of the books, but the feeling they awaken in him, a sense that life might hold something deeper than mere survival. There is a particularly transformative moment when a professor asks a simple question about a piece of literature, and Stoner finds himself unable to answer, not because he doesn't understand, but because something inside him has been stirred so deeply that it leaves him speechless. For the first time, he is not just reacting to life, he is feeling it, questioning it, and becoming aware of an inner world he never knew existed. This moment represents something many people experience but often ignore: the discovery of passion. It rarely comes as a loud, obvious signal. Instead, it shows up quietly, in a class you didn't care about, a hobby you tried randomly, or a book that unexpectedly resonates with you. Think about a real-life example: a student who enrolls in engineering because it seems practical, but then accidentally takes a psychology course and feels a spark of curiosity and excitement they've never felt before. Or someone working a routine job who tries video editing as a side activity and suddenly feels energized, losing track of time while doing it. These moments are easy to dismiss because they don't fit the plan. But Stoner's story shows the cost of ignoring them and the power of embracing them. He chooses to change his path, not with loud defiance, but with quiet certainty. He shifts from agriculture to literature, knowing it may not bring wealth or approval, but feeling, perhaps for the first time, that he is aligned with something meaningful. This part of the story invites us to reflect deeply on our own lives. How often do we ignore the things that genuinely interest us because they seem impractical or uncertain? How many people spend years chasing stability while quietly feeling unfulfilled? Stoner's decision is not about success in the traditional sense. It is about authenticity. It reminds us that passion is not always convenient, but it is often essential for a life that feels truly lived. A practical lesson here is to pay attention to moments of genuine curiosity and engagement. Notice when you lose track of time, when something excites you without external reward, or when you feel a sense of meaning in what you're doing. These are clues pointing toward your passion. You don't have to immediately abandon everything else, but you can start small, explore it further, dedicate time to it, and see where it leads. For example, if you enjoy storytelling, you might start writing or creating content online. If you feel drawn to teaching, you might begin by sharing knowledge with others in small ways. The key is not to ignore the signal. Ask yourself, when was the last time something truly interested me? Am I allowing myself to explore it? Or am I suppressing it for the sake of security? What would happen if I gave even a small part of my life to what I genuinely care about? Main points. Stoner's college experience introduces him to literature, awakening a deep and unexpected passion. Passion often appears quietly and can easily be ignored if it doesn't align with existing plans. Choosing passion may not guarantee success, but it leads to a more authentic and meaningful life. Actionable lesson: pay attention to activities that naturally engage and excite you without external pressure. Actionable lesson: start exploring your interests in small, practical ways instead of waiting for the perfect moment. Key question to reflect on: am I following a path that feels meaningful to me, or just one that feels safe and expected? In Stoner by John Williams, the phase where William Stoner begins his academic path is not marked by loud triumph, but by a quiet, almost stubborn commitment to something he barely understands yet deeply feels. After discovering literature, he makes a decision that seems small on the surface but is actually profound. He abandons a life that was planned for him and chooses to stay in the university, dedicating himself to the study of English. There is no dramatic announcement, no confrontation with his parents, no celebration. Instead, there is silence, an acceptance that this choice may distance him from everything familiar. This is where Stoner's character begins to reveal itself. He is not driven by ambition, fame, or recognition, but by a quiet sense of purpose that he cannot fully explain. As he continues his studies, guided by mentors like Archer Sloan, Stoner starts to understand that literature is not just about reading books. It is about understanding life, human emotions, and the complexities of existence. However, his journey is far from glamorous. He is not naturally brilliant, nor does he stand out among his peers. He struggles, doubts himself, and often feels invisible. Yet, he persists. This persistence is what defines this stage of his life. It is a kind of persistence that many people overlook because it doesn't come with immediate results or external validation. Consider a real-life scenario. Someone decides to pursue a career in a field they genuinely care about, like writing, teaching, or art. In the beginning, there's excitement, but soon it is replaced by uncertainty. Progress feels slow, recognition is minimal, and doubts start to creep in. Friends or family might question the decision, suggesting more practical alternatives. At this point, many people give up and return to safer paths. But Stoner does not. He continues, not because he is certain of success, but because he cannot ignore the quiet conviction within him. This is what makes his journey so relatable. It reflects the internal battles that most people face but rarely talk about. Another important aspect of this phase is the absence of external rewards. Stoner's choice does not immediately improve his life. In fact, it complicates it. He is stepping into a world where success is uncertain and recognition is rare. Yet, there is a subtle shift within him. For the first time, he is not just existing. He is engaging with something that gives his life meaning. This raises an important question for us. Are we willing to commit to something meaningful even if it doesn't guarantee success or approval? A practical takeaway from this part of the story is the importance of commitment over motivation. Passion might spark your interest, but it is commitment that sustains it. You may not always feel excited or confident, but showing up consistently is what creates progress. For example, if someone wants to build a YouTube channel or learn a new skill, the initial enthusiasm might fade, but consistent effort over time is what leads to growth. Stoner's journey reminds us that meaningful paths are often slow and uncertain, but they are worth pursuing. Take a moment to reflect. What is something you care about but hesitate to fully commit to? Are you waiting for certainty or approval before taking the next step? What would happen if you decided to continue, even without immediate results? Main points. Stoner chooses to pursue literature, marking the true beginning of his self-directed life. His journey highlights the power of quiet commitment rather than loud ambition. Success is not immediate. Progress is slow, uncertain, and often invisible. Actionable lesson. Focus on consistency and commitment rather than waiting for motivation or validation. Actionable lesson. Be willing to pursue meaningful paths even when outcomes are unclear. Key question to reflect on. Am I avoiding commitment because I fear uncertainty, or am I willing to trust the process and keep going? In Stoner by John Williams, the phase of marriage and personal struggles reveals one of the most quietly devastating aspects of William Stoner's life. What begins as a seemingly conventional step, his marriage to Edith, slowly unfolds into a relationship marked not by companionship, but by emotional distance, misunderstanding, and silent suffering. At first, Stoner approaches marriage with the same quiet acceptance that has guided most of his life. He does not question deeply whether this is the right person for him or whether they truly understand each other. Instead, he follows what seems expected, almost as if marriage is simply the next step in a sequence rather than a meaningful choice. This decision, like many others in his life, is not driven by passion or clarity, but by a sense of obligation and passivity. As their relationship develops, it becomes clear that Stoner and Edith are fundamentally incompatible. Edith is emotionally complex, often withdrawn, and at times controlling, while Stoner is reserved, patient, and inwardly resilient. Instead of resolving their differences through communication, they retreat further into themselves, creating a growing silence between them. Their home, which should have been a place of comfort, becomes a space filled with tension and unspoken conflict. This is not the kind of dramatic, explosive conflict often seen in stories. It is much more subtle and, in many ways, more painful. It is a slow erosion of connection, where two people live side by side but remain emotionally worlds apart. This dynamic is something many people can recognize in real life. Imagine a couple who, over time, stop sharing their thoughts and feelings. Conversations become routine, interactions become mechanical, and the emotional bond that once had potential is never fully developed. Instead of addressing issues early, they avoid difficult conversations, hoping things will improve on their own. But silence, as Stoner's story shows, rarely solves anything. It often deepens the divide. For example, someone might feel misunderstood in a relationship but chooses not to express it, fearing conflict or rejection. Over time, that unspoken frustration can turn into resentment, creating a distance that becomes harder and harder to bridge. One of the most powerful aspects of this part of the story is how it highlights the consequences of passivity in personal relationships. Stoner is not a bad husband, but he is often passive, choosing endurance over confrontation. While this allows him to avoid immediate conflict, it also prevents any real resolution. His marriage becomes something he survives rather than something he actively shapes. This raises an important question. Is avoiding conflict truly maintaining peace, or is it slowly destroying the relationship? A key lesson here is the importance of communication and intentionality in relationships. Healthy relationships are not built on silence or assumption. They require effort, honesty, and sometimes uncomfortable conversations. For instance, if you feel disconnected from someone close to you, addressing it early, even if it feels difficult, can prevent deeper issues later. It is not about winning arguments, but about understanding each other. Another actionable takeaway is the importance of self-awareness before entering or committing to a relationship. Ask yourself whether you are choosing a partner based on genuine compatibility or simply following expectations. Reflect on your own life. Are there relationships where important things are left unsaid? Are you choosing comfort over honesty? What would change if you express your thoughts openly, even at the risk of conflict? Main points. Stoner's marriage to Edith highlights the dangers of emotional distance and lack of communication. Passive acceptance in relationships can lead to long-term dissatisfaction and silent suffering. Avoiding conflict does not resolve issues. It often deepens them over time. Actionable lesson. Communicate openly and honestly in your relationships, even when it feels uncomfortable. Actionable lesson. Be intentional in choosing and nurturing relationships rather than simply following expectations. Key. Question to reflect on. Am I actively building my relationships, or am I passively allowing them to unfold without direction? In Stoner by John Williams, the phase of fatherhood introduces a brief but deeply meaningful shift in William Stoner's life, offering a glimpse of warmth and connection that contrasts sharply with the emotional distance in his marriage. When his daughter Grace is born, Stoner experiences something new, a quiet but genuine sense of purpose and affection. For a time, he becomes deeply involved in her life, caring for her, nurturing her, and forming a bond that feels natural and fulfilling in a way his marriage never did. These moments are simple: reading to her, spending time together, being present, but they carry a depth of emotion that suggests what his life could have been if connection had been easier for him to sustain. However, this fragile happiness does not last. Edith, who already struggles with her own emotional complexities, begins to assert control over Grace, gradually distancing her from Stoner. What makes this part of the story so painful is not a single dramatic event, but the slow, deliberate shift in the child's environment. Grace is subtly turned against her father, her routines are changed, and the bond that once felt so natural begins to weaken. Stoner, true to his nature, does not fight back aggressively. He watches, endures, and quietly suffers as his relationship with his daughter fades into something distant and strained. This reflects one of the most difficult realities of life. Sometimes, the things we value most can slip away not because of one major mistake, but because of small, unchallenged changes over time. This situation is deeply relatable in real life. Consider a parent who is initially very close to their child but becomes less involved due to work, stress, or family conflict. Over time, that distance grows, and the relationship changes without either side fully understanding how it happened. Or think about situations where one parent influences a child's perception of the other, intentionally or unintentionally, creating emotional distance that becomes hard to repair. These are not uncommon scenarios, and they highlight how delicate relationships can be, especially when they are not actively protected and nurtured. One of the most powerful lessons from this part of the story is the importance of presence and active involvement in relationships. Love, on its own, is not always enough. It must be expressed, defended, and sustained through consistent action. Stoner's quiet nature, which helps him endure hardship, also prevents him from taking the steps needed to preserve his bond with Grace. This raises an important question. When something truly matters to us, are we willing to step out of our comfort zone to protect it? A practical takeaway here is to be intentional about maintaining important relationships, especially with family. Small, consistent actions, spending time together, communicating openly, showing appreciation, can make a significant difference over time. For example, regularly checking in with a loved one, setting aside dedicated time without distractions, or addressing issues early can prevent the kind of slow drift that Stoner experiences. It is also important to recognize when passivity may be causing harm. Standing up for a relationship does not always mean conflict, but it does require effort and awareness. Take a moment to reflect. Are there relationships in your life that you value but may be unintentionally neglecting? Are you actively nurturing those connections or assuming they will take care of themselves? If something started to drift away, would you notice in time to act? Main points. Fatherhood brings Stoner a rare sense of connection and purpose through his bond with Grace. This bond gradually weakens due to external influence and lack of active resistance. Relationships can fade slowly if they are not consistently nurtured and protected. Actionable lesson. Be present and intentional in your relationships, especially with family. Actionable lesson. Take small, consistent actions to maintain strong emotional connections. Key question to reflect on. Am I actively investing in the relationships that matter most, or assuming they will remain strong without effort? In Stoner by John Williams, the phase of professional conflict brings William Stoner into a quiet but intense battle that reveals how power, ego, and institutional politics can shape a person's life just as much as personal choices. As a university professor, Stoner is dedicated, sincere, and deeply committed to his subject, but he is not ambitious in the traditional sense. He does not seek recognition or authority. He simply wants to do his work well. This makes him an easy target in a system where louder personalities and stronger egos often dominate. The central conflict arises with Hollis Lomax, a colleague whose authority and personal resentment create a long-standing tension that affects Stoner's career in subtle but damaging ways. The conflict begins over something that might seem small, a disagreement about a student's competence and academic standards. Stoner believes in maintaining integrity and refuses to pass a student he considers unqualified, while Lomax takes it personally and turns a situation into a prolonged power struggle. What follows is not an open confrontation filled with dramatic arguments, but a slow, calculated series of professional obstacles placed in Stoner's path. He is given less favorable teaching assignments, his career progression stalls, and his professional environment becomes increasingly hostile. Yet, true to his nature, Stoner does not retaliate aggressively. He continues his work with quiet determination, choosing integrity over convenience, even when it costs him. This situation mirrors many real-life workplace dynamics. Imagine an employee who stands by their principles in a corporate setting, refusing to compromise on quality or ethics. Instead of being rewarded, they may face resistance from colleagues or superiors who feel threatened or inconvenienced. Promotions may be delayed, opportunities may be withheld, and the work environment may become uncomfortable. In such situations, people often face a difficult choice: adapt to the system and compromise their values, or remain true to themselves and accept the consequences. Stoner chooses the latter, and while it does not lead to external success, it preserves his sense of self. One of the most thought-provoking aspects of this part of the story is how it challenges our definition of success. In a world that often equates success with recognition, status, and advancement, Stoner's experience suggests that success can also mean maintaining personal integrity in the face of adversity. However, it also raises an important question. Is quiet endurance always the best response, or are there moments when one must actively defend their position? A practical lesson here is the importance of balancing integrity with assertiveness. Standing by your principles is essential, but so is learning how to communicate and defend them effectively. For example, if you face unfair treatment at work, documenting your efforts, seeking support, and addressing issues directly can help you navigate the situation more strategically. Another takeaway is the need to understand the environment you are in. Not every system rewards integrity in the same way, and being aware of this can help you make more informed decisions about how to respond. Reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever faced a situation where doing the right thing came at a personal cost? Did you choose to stand firm, or did you adapt to avoid conflict? If faced with a similar situation again, what would you do differently? Main points. Stoner's professional conflict highlights the impact of power dynamics in workplace politics. His commitment to integrity leads to personal and professional challenges. Quiet endurance preserves his values but limits his external success. Actionable lesson: maintain your principles, but also develop the skills to assert and defend them effectively. Actionable lesson: understand your environment and adapt your approach without compromising your core values. Key question to reflect on: am I balancing integrity with assertiveness, or am I either compromising too much or remaining too passive in difficult situations? In Stoner by John Williams, the chapter on forbidden love exposes one of the most emotionally turbulent periods in William Stoner's life, revealing how deep desire, personal longing, and societal constraints can collide to create both ecstasy and devastation. As a reserved, introspective man, Stoner's life has largely been marked by quiet routines and unspoken struggles. But when he meets Edith's colleague, a young woman who shares his intellectual curiosity and emotional depth, he experiences feelings that awaken a part of him long suppressed. This love is thrilling precisely because it is forbidden, and for the first time, he tastes the intensity of connection that goes beyond social expectations and marital obligation. It is a love that is both intoxicating and dangerous, forcing him to confront desires he has spent his life suppressing. The intensity of this relationship is heightened by its secrecy. Stoner must navigate the tension between his moral responsibilities and his personal fulfillment. Every encounter is charged with anticipation and fear of discovery, making the moments of connection feel both exhilarating and fleeting. This mirrors the experiences of many who find themselves drawn to paths or relationships deemed inappropriate or risky, whether due to social norms, professional boundaries, or personal circumstances. Consider, for instance, a person who develops a deep emotional attachment to a coworker or friend outside a committed relationship. The feelings can feel exhilarating, yet navigating them responsibly requires wisdom, self-awareness, and careful reflection. Stoner's journey through forbidden love is not just about desire, it is about self-discovery. He learns the intensity of human emotions, the cost of secrecy, and the limits imposed by both society and his own conscience. The story invites reflection on the complexities of human relationships and the often painful balance between fulfillment and duty. It challenges us to consider the boundaries we set for ourselves and the consequences when those boundaries are crossed. In life, we may face situations where following our desires could bring both joy and heartbreak. The lesson lies not in avoiding passion, but in understanding it, navigating it with integrity, and being aware of the long-term implications. A practical takeaway is the importance of understanding and managing emotional impulses. Passion can enrich life, but unchecked desire or secretive behavior can create pain for oneself and others. For example, if someone feels a strong attraction outside a committed relationship, reflecting on motivations, consequences, and ethical considerations is essential before taking any action. Another lesson is self-awareness. Knowing your values and limits allows you to experience emotional intensity without losing sight of what is truly important. Stoner's experience shows that human emotions are powerful teachers if we approach them thoughtfully rather than impulsively. Reflect on your own life. Are there desires or ambitions you have suppressed because of fear or societal pressure? How do you navigate situations where your heart and your obligations are in conflict? What can you learn about yourself from these moments of temptation or intense emotion? Main points. Stoner's forbidden love highlights a tension between personal desire and moral responsibility. Intense emotions can awaken self-discovery but may come with emotional risk. Secretive or socially prohibited relationships often create both exhilaration and long-term consequences. Actionable lesson. Approach desires with self-awareness, understanding the ethical and personal implications. Actionable lesson. Reflect on your values and boundaries before acting on intense emotions. Key question 2. Reflect on, how can I honor my desires while maintaining integrity and awareness of consequences? In Stoner by John Williams, the chapter on loss and separation captures one of the most heart-wrenching phases of William Stoner's life, highlighting profound emotional consequences of relationships that deteriorate despite our best efforts. After experiencing moments of hope and brief connection, Stoner faces a painful reality of estrangement from those he cares about most, his wife, Edith, and eventually even his daughter, Grace. The separation is not sudden or dramatic. It creeps in quietly, a slow unraveling of bonds built over years. What makes this phase so poignant is Stoner's quiet endurance. Unlike stories where grief manifests in outbursts or overt rebellion, Stoner internalizes his pain, reflecting on what was lost and the choices that may have contributed to it. His suffering is universal, yet uniquely intimate, a testament to how the human heart can bear solitude while continuing to seek meaning and purpose. This experience mirrors real-life situations where emotional and physical distance enters our closest relationships. Consider someone whose marriage gradually erodes due to miscommunication or unresolved conflicts, or a parent whose child drifts away emotionally during adolescence. Often, these separations are not caused by a single event but by a series of unspoken frustrations, misunderstandings, and unattended needs. Stoner's story reminds us that even the most enduring relationships require attention, communication, and care. His quiet suffering also teaches that loss is not merely about absence. It is about the internal reckoning that comes with realizing that some things cannot be controlled or reversed. One of the most compelling aspects of this part of the story is Stoner's response to loss. He does not collapse entirely under despair, nor does he allow bitterness to dominate his life. Instead, he continues to immerse himself in work, study, and literature, finding solace and meaning in what he can influence. This reflects an important real-world lesson. While we cannot prevent all loss, we can choose how to respond. For example, someone who experiences a painful breakup or estrangement might focus on personal growth, developing skills, or deepening other relationships, rather than allowing grief to stagnate their life. Stoner's experience also encourages reflection on the impermanence of relationships and the importance of cherishing the present with loved ones. Practical application for viewers involves active engagement in meaningful relationships before they drift apart. Taking time to communicate openly, express appreciation, and address issues proactively can prevent silent separation. Additionally, cultivating personal resilience through learning, creativity, or self-reflection provides emotional stability during inevitable periods of loss. Stoner's life demonstrates that even in isolation or grief, one can continue to grow intellectually and emotionally, transforming suffering into a quiet strength. Reflective questions to consider. Are there relationships in my life that are drifting apart silently? Am I investing enough effort to nurture the connections that matter most? How do I respond to unavoidable loss? And can I channel that experience into personal growth rather than bitterness? Main points. Stoner faces profound emotional loss and separation, highlighting the fragility of human relationships. Relationships often deteriorate slowly due to unaddressed conflicts, miscommunication, or neglect. Quiet endurance and reflection can transform loss into personal growth and resilience. Actionable lesson. Communicate, nurture, and cherish relationships before distance and estrangement take hold. Actionable lesson. Focus on personal development and meaningful engagement to cope with unavoidable loss. Key question to reflect on. How can I respond to loss in a way that strengthens my character and preserves meaningful connections? In Stoner by John Williams, the chapter on later years and reflection portrays a quiet, contemplative conclusion of William Stoner's life, a life marked not by dramatic triumphs but by small, deeply human victories and enduring introspection. As he ages, Stoner confronts the sum of his experiences, the passions he embraced, the love he sought and lost, the professional battles he endured, and the family ties that never fully flourished. What is striking about this stage of his life is the calm acceptance with which he views both joy and disappointment. There are no grand declarations, no final heroic gestures. Instead, there is a profound meditation on existence itself, the inevitability of loss, and the quiet significance of perseverance. Through this reflection, Stoner demonstrates that a life well lived does not require fame, fortune, or widespread recognition. It requires honesty, commitment, and a willingness to engage with the world sincerely. This phase of Stoner's life resonates deeply because it mirrors experiences many of us face as we grow older. Imagine someone nearing retirement, looking back on decades of work, relationships, and choices. Some moments bring pride and warmth, while others evoke regret or sorrow. Like Stoner, people in this stage often realize that it is not the accolades, wealth, or external validation that define a meaningful life, but the quiet integrity with which they live their days. Stoner's reflective nature also illustrates how even a life that appears ordinary on the surface can contain profound richness when viewed through the lens of lived experience and personal growth. A key element of this part of the story is Stoner's understanding of what truly matters. He reflects on the fleeting nature of worldly achievements and the enduring value of intellectual engagement, personal integrity, and authentic connection. For example, a teacher who spends decades inspiring students without ever receiving public recognition may realize that the small, consistent impact on individual lives carries more significance than awards or promotions. Similarly, Stoner's contemplation encourages readers to evaluate their own lives. Are you prioritizing what truly matters, or are you caught in the pursuit of superficial success? From a practical perspective, this chapter invites viewers to practice intentional living. Daily choices, even small ones, shape the legacy of a life. Engaging deeply in work, relationships, and personal interests, and taking time for reflection can lead to a sense of fulfillment even in the face of adversity. Hypothetically, consider journaling your experiences, reflecting on lessons learned from successes and failures, or expressing gratitude to those who have impacted your life. These actions not only foster self-awareness, but also enrich your emotional and intellectual life as you age. Reflective question for the audience. Are you living with awareness of what truly matters to you? How do your daily choices reflect your values and priorities? If you look back at your life 20 or 30 years from now, what would you hope to see as your legacy? Main points. Stoner's later years are marked by quiet reflection, acceptance, and a recognition of life's deeper significance. True fulfillment comes not from fame or wealth, but from personal integrity, intellectual engagement, and authentic connections. Ordinary lives can hold profound richness when approached with honesty and dedication. Actionable lesson: practice intentional living by aligning daily choices with your values and priorities. Actionable lesson: reflect regularly on experiences, successes, failures, and relationships to cultivate personal growth. Key question to reflect on: am I living in a way that will leave a meaningful legacy, or am I distracted by superficial pursuits? In Stoner by John Williams, the chapter on final moments and legacy captures a quiet, dignified culmination of William Stoner's life, illustrating how the impact of a life is often measured not by grand achievements, but by the integrity, dedication, and quiet influence a person leaves behind. In these closing moments, Stoner reflects on his journey, the joys, the disappointments, the loves that blossomed and withered, and the professional and personal struggles that defined him. Despite the trials and emotional setbacks he endured, he faces the end with serene awareness, understanding that a life lived with honesty and dedication holds its own profound significance. His legacy is subtle, residing not in accolades or widespread recognition, but in the lives he touched, the knowledge he imparted to students, and the example of resilience and commitment he set through his daily actions. This stage of life resonates with real-life experiences of individuals who quietly shape the world around them without seeking fame. Consider a devoted teacher, mentor, or parent whose impact is felt through the success, growth, or inspiration of others rather than public recognition. Stoner's reflections remind us that legacies are often intangible. They live in the minds, hearts, and memories of people whose lives we influence. For instance, an individual who spends decades guiding, supporting, or inspiring others may not have monumental accolades, yet their work has ripple effects that endure far beyond their lifetime. This evokes the idea that the value of a life is often measured in small, consistent acts of integrity, kindness, and dedication. A particularly striking aspect of this chapter is the way it emphasizes acceptance and perspective. Stoner does not lament the life he could have had. Instead, he acknowledges both the pain and the beauty he experienced, understanding that both were integral to his human experience. This approach can be applied in our own lives, recognizing that challenges, failures, and losses are as meaningful as successes in shaping character and perspective. Hypothetically, imagine someone reflecting on their career or relationships at an advanced age, realizing that even uncelebrated efforts, the quiet guidance of a colleague, the mentorship of a friend, the patience with a child, compose a true measure of a meaningful life. Practical lessons for viewers include focusing on purposeful actions and relationships today, understanding that these will form the enduring part of one's legacy. Engaging deeply in your wake, maintaining integrity, nurturing connections, and investing in personal growth are ways to ensure that your influence persists, even if unnoticed by the wider world. Stoner's story encourages us to think beyond external validation and to consider the impact of our daily choices on the lives of those around us. Reflective questions: what do you want your life to be remembered for? Are your daily actions aligned with the legacy you hope to leave? How can you cultivate meaningful influence in your personal and professional life starting today? Main points. Stoner's final moments highlight the significance of integrity, dedication, and quiet influence over fame or external recognition. True legacy is measured by the impact on others, the lives we touch, and the values we embody. Acceptance of both joy and hardship is essential in appreciating the full scope of life's meaning. Actionable lesson: focus on purposeful, consistent actions in relationships, work, and personal growth. Actionable lesson: invest in meaningful influence through mentorship, guidance, and acts of integrity. Key question to reflect on: am I living today in a way that will create a lasting, meaningful legacy? As we close the story of Stoner by John Williams, we are reminded that a meaningful life is not measured by fame or fortune, but by the quiet integrity, enduring dedication, and genuine connections we cultivate. From his early struggles and discovery of passion, through personal and professional conflicts, to his final reflections, Stoner's journey teaches us the importance of resilience, self-awareness, and cherishing the relationships that truly matter. Key points recap: life's value comes from integrity, perseverance, and personal growth. Relationships and meaningful influence define our legacy more than recognition. Challenges, loss, and conflict are opportunities for reflection and strength. Consistent, intentional actions shape the life we ultimately leave behind. If you found this summary inspiring and want to dive deeper into more timeless books, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new audiobook summary on Visual Books.